Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. Today our group is going to present about wind energy. So this is our group member. First Muhammad Zulhakim bin Muhammad Rofidi. Second Ahmad Ariffuddin bin Ahmad Masri. Third Sabrina binti Muhammad Amin. Fourth Nadirah binti Halid, which is me. And the last one is Azlini Hanni binti Kamarulzaman. So I will start first with the introduction. So what is wind? Winds are horizontal movement of air between high atmospheric pressure to low atmospheric pressure. It's basically created by uneven heating of the surface due to the sun. The strength of wind is proportional to the pressure differences between this area. That means the greater the pressure difference between this area, the harder the wind will blow. Wind also exists as the circulation of air around area with high pressure or area with low pressure. Next, what is wind energy? So, wind energy is converting of wind power to electrical power through the use of windmills or turbines. Wind energy is clean, cheap, and eco-friendly renewable source of energy. So, I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Azlini Hanni Binti Kamarulzaman and my matrix number is 208262. So I would like to talk about wind energy works in general and its materials. So first of all, how it works in general. Wind is a form of solar energy caused by three reasons. First, the sun unevenly heating the atmosphere. Next is the irregularity of the Earth's surface. And the third is the rotation of the Earth. So, wind turbine convert energy from wind to electricity by rotating the blades. And so the rotor will turn into an electric generator. So, what wind energy materials and its parts? So this is wind turbine and it made of steels, fiberglass, resin or plastic, iron or cast iron, copper and aluminium. The major parts are the tower, rotor, nacelle, generator and foundation. Without all of these, a wind turbine cannot function. So I would like to talk about each of the parts. So for the tower is depending on the blades and the location. So the circling of the blades is the diameter for the tower. The rotor is a rotating part in a wind turbine and it's attached with three blades. So the nacelle is the housing on the top of the wind turbine where all the components is inside it. So the generator is generate the wind to the electricity. This is same as motor generator. And a foundation is a base for the wind turbine that we cannot be seen because it's covered with soil, and if it's offshore we cannot see also because it's underwater. So I'll pass to the next presenter.
Hi everyone, my name is Ahmad Ariffuddin bin Ahmad Masri with metric number 207619. So, I will continue the presentation as I will talk about the mechanism on how the wind energy works. First of all, let me tell you about the four key parts to a modern wind turbine, which consists of the foundations, the tower, the nacelle, and the blade assembly. Alright, let's move on to our main point here, which is the mechanism of wind energy. Wind energy requires wind turbine to generate electricity. So, how wind turbine works? First, wind, which is the moving air that contains kinetic energy, blows toward the turbine's rotor blades. Then, the rotors spin around, capturing some of the kinetic energy from the wind and turning the central drive shaft that supports them. Although the outer edges of the rotor blades move very fast, the central axles are connected to turn quite slowly. Next, in most large modern turbines, the rotor blades can swivel on the hub at the front, so they meet the wind at the best angle for harvesting energy. This is called the pitch control mechanism. On big turbines, small electric motors or hydraulic rams swivel the blades back and forth under precise electronic control. On smaller turbines, the pitch control is often completely mechanical. However, many turbines have fixed rotors and no pitch control at all. Next, inside the nacelle, which is the main body of the turbine sitting on top of the tower and behind the blades, the gearbox converts the low-speed rotation of the drive shaft into high-speed rotation that could be fast enough to drive the generator efficiently. After that, the generator, immediately behind the gearbox, takes kinetic energy from the spinning drive shaft and turns it into electrical energy. Running at maximum capacity, a typical 2 megawatt turbine generator will produce 2 million watts of power at about 700 volts. Then, anemometer, which is the automatic speed measuring devices, and wind vanes on the back of the nacelle provide measurements of the wind speed and direction. By using these measurements, the entire top part of the turbine consists of the rotors and nacelle can be rotated by a yaw motor mounted between the nacelle and the tower. So, it faces directly into the oncoming wind and captures the maximum amount of energy. If it's too windy or turbulent, brakes are applied to stop the rotors from turning. The brakes are also applied during routine maintenance. Then, the electric current produced by the generator flows through a cable running down through the inside of the turbine tower. Next, a step-up transformer converts the electricity to about 50 times higher voltage, so it can be transmitted efficiently to the power grid or to nearby buildings or communities. If the electricity is flowing to the grid, it is converted to an even higher voltage by a substation nearby, which services many turbines. And finally, homes are able to enjoy clean, green energy as the turbine has produced no greenhouse gas emissions or pollution as it operates. After the electricity has reached all homes and buildings, wind carries on its blowing past the turbine, but with less speed and energy, also with more turbulence. So, that's all from me for the mechanism on how the wind energy works. So, I will pass the presentation to our next presenter, Sabrina, for her to explain about the advantages and disadvantages of the wind energy. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sabrina, Binti Amin with the matrix number 207649. So today my part I'm going to present about the advantages and disadvantages of wind energy. So what is the advantages of wind energy? So first, the wind energy is unlimited, free and renewable source. This is because wind is natural occurrence which caused by heating of atmosphere by the sun, and it also no market for the demand and supply of wind energy, and also the energy produced can be harnessed and never run out. For the second advantage of the wind energy is wind energy is a clean and environmental friendly fuel source. This is because the wind turbines harmlessly generate electricity from wind that passing by, and it also does not produce atmospheric emission or toxic waste that will eventually cause acid rain or greenhouse gases. And it also reduces the amount of electricity generation from a fossil fuel, which result in lower total air pollution and carbon dioxide emission. So that with this wind energy, we can also improve our environment by decreasing the pollution that will emit to the surrounding. And for the last advantages of wind energy is the number 3, which is stated that industrial and domestic installation. This is because we know that wind energy is built on existing farm or ranches where most of the best wind sites are found, which greatly benefits the economy in the rural areas. And then it uses only a fraction of the land, which causes no trouble in work for farmers, so that the farmers will eventually use of the land space remaining for the space. And also the lastly is can enhance an additional income paid by the owners of wind power plants, and also provide parts of the domestic electric electricity supply. So there are a lot of benefits that we can gain from the wind energy. Okay, now we're moving on to the disadvantages of the wind energy. So what are the disadvantages of wind energy that we eventually get from the wind energy itself? So first of all, we have a noise pollution. This is because we know that the wind energy system is generate a noise and visual pollution which can be heard from hundreds of meters away, so that it clearly we can say that the turbines itself interrupt scenic landscape and such as mountain ranges, lakes, ocean and more. And beside it also would be unpleasant to surrounding because of the noises produced. Next, for the second disadvantages of the wind energy is the remoteness of location. We already know that the wind energy system usually cost of travel and the wind facility maintenance is really expensive, so that as a result, they eventually can increase the reliability and energy output, which then finally can lower the system of the capital expensive. And apart from that, it also time consuming, because we know that to generate and to operate the wind energy system is usually takes a long time because of their maintenance and the facilities itself. And lastly, the offshore wind turbines require boats and can be dangerous to manage for those who didn't have any skills to operate them. Last but not least, for the last disadvantages of the wind energy, will go to the threat to wildlife. Why I can say that this is because the turbine's blade is very large and it rotates at a very high speed, which can harm and kill a species that fly into them. For example, like the birds and then the bat. So this would be the consequences of the wind energy system. And for the second point is the construction of wind also disrupt the natural habitats of local species if there is not conducted in the sustainable manner. And but then, however, the problems are usually can resolved through technological development or property that sitting wind plants. So I think that's all from my part. Thank you.
So now we are going to the last part of our presentation, which is factor wind energy not used in Malaysia. So for the first point is wind speed is very slow in Malaysia. This is because Malaysia generally known to experience a low wind speed compared to the other countries. What I'm trying to say is means annual wind speed of Malaysia is low and no more than 2 meters per second. This is because most of the wind turbine needs a minimum speed which is 4 meters per second for electric generation. So this is proof that our wind is very slow because we cannot exceed 4 meters per second. So for the next point is Malaysia experience two main weather of season. For the first one is southwest monsoon, which is occur from May until September. Basically, if you see that this wind speed during the southwest monsoon is always below than 7 meters per second. And the second of weather season is northeast monsoon season, which is occur November until March of the year. And this wind basically about can reach up 15 meters per second. And basically if we see that the wind speed is not really consistent because we have two different monsoon. As a whole, Malaysia will experience same low speed as I said before, which is 2 meters per second. And for the last part is most land in Malaysia were irregular and uneven. What I'm trying to say is if there are any uneven places, wind difficult to gain maximum speed because there are many disturbance. For example, is the friction. So we cannot get the maximum wind speed. And then most land of the Malaysia is very irregular and uneven. For example, there are many buildings and hilly space, which have a hill on there and on there. But however, some locations have a very good potential for wind energy. For example, towns in Mersing, Kota Baru and Kuala Terengganu may experience stronger wind than to other places. As a proof, the wind speed could exceed 3 meter per second at that place. So in a conclusion, I think there are many advantages, disadvantages and the factor of the wind energy that can be used as a green technology. For me, I think wind energy can be a green technology because wind energy can save costs, save environment and environmentally friendly. I think Malaysia should do some research about wind energy because there are many pros and cons. That's all from us. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.